Just a quick disclaimer guys, I keep referring to these formula as equations. I don't know what I was thinking when I was making the video. I obviously wasn't concentrating, and I think I've done that before. So when I'm using the word equation, if I'm just describing one side of the equal sign, such as in all these cases, if I'm just describing this, I mean formula, not equation. The equation is the whole thing. Sorry about that. I won't be repeating this in future videos. Anyway, on with the video. The two equations are a times c times sine of b, all of that divided by 2, and a times b times the sine of c, all of that divided by 2. In order to find the value of sine b and sine c, I'm going to draw a line through the triangle that divides the angle A and runs perpendicular to the base. This new line turns the original triangle into two right-angled triangles sitting back to back, where the green line is the height of each triangle. And now we can use trigonometry to get sine B and sine C. By the way, there is a third formula which I've not written here, but which can be used to find the area of the triangle. I'm not going to prove it because I want you to come up with the solution yourself. I'm going to show you what to do after I've finished proving these two, but in the bonus section of this video. So have your pen and paper ready to see if you can figure out that third formula. Actually, let's get rid of the equations, since we're trying to show exactly how we get to these by using our knowledge of triangle theory. Since the green line represents the heights of both triangles, we'll give it the label h. Now let's figure out the values for sine b and sine c. We know that sine of an angle is opposite over the hypotenuse, and let's put that for both sides. Hypotenuse. Let's take sine of c first. The opposite is h, so that equals h, that's small h, over b. So the sine of c is h over b. For the sine of b, the opposite is again the h, it's the same for both triangles, and the hypotenuse is c. So sine of b is h over c. Now for this equation containing sine b, if I multiply both sides of it by c, if we put c here, these two cancel, and that leaves c sine b equals h. And for the equation that has sine c on the left hand side, if we multiply both sides by b, we get b sine c on the left hand side, and the b's cancel on the right hand side, so b sine c equals h. But also c sine b equals h, which is obviously the height. Now, you know the area of a triangle is half base times height, right? Or we could call that base times height over 2. And the edge A is the base of our triangle. So base equals our small a. And since our height is either c sine b or b sine c, we could use either of those in the half base times height of b times h over 2. Let's use a sine b equation. Everything is over 2, and then base times height. Well, base is a, and that would be times height, which is c times sine of b. Or if we wanted to use sine c, we would then do that again. Everything over 2. Base is still a, because that's the base of the triangle, and then height is b sine of c, which means the area of the triangle is given either by a times c times sine of b over 2, or a times b times sine of c over 2. Now at the beginning of the video, I showed you two formulas and claimed that they can be used to find the area of a scalene triangle, and said that we would prove that. So let's remove everything on this board except for the two formulas we just came up with. And now let's bring back the original formulas. And as you can see, this is the same formula as the one we showed originally, a times c times sine b over 2. And this formula, a times b times sine c over 2, is the same as the original formula. So indeed, you have the proof. These two formulas can be used to find the area of a scalene triangle. If you stayed all the way to this part of the video, I'd like to say thank you very much. And if you feel so inclined, drop a like just to show your appreciation. And as promised, here is the bonus part. there should be an additional formula in this entire equation which can be used to find the area of a triangle. How do I know this? You can see that sine B is multiplied by two edges, A and C. Sine B is down here, and the edges A and C are adjacent to B, and I'll highlight that just in case you don't know what I'm talking about. We have the angle B, which is in sine B, and it's multiplied by the values for the edges A and C, and they are adjacent to the angle B. Now let's examine the angle C. If I move this over to C, you can see the sine of C is multiplied by the value of the edges A and B, and A and B are adjacent to the angle C. So it looks like for these formula, you simply have to get sine of the angle and then multiply it by the value of the adjacent edges. And if that's true, there should be another formula, sine of A multiplied by B times C. Now I'm not going to prove that, I'm going to leave that as an exercise for you to try. I'm not going to leave you empty-handed though. I'm going to give you a clue so that you can figure out for yourself that this new formula has exactly the same value as the other two, and so it can be used to find the area of a triangle. I'm leaving you the sine rule that says sine B over B equals sine C over C equals sine A over A, and if your algebra is good enough, you should be able to figure out B times C times sine A over 2 gives the area of this triangle. Good luck, and let me know in the comments how you got along. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching.